All right. I'm not going to play my music today because I don't want to interfere with any of the recording controls, and I know it'll try to pick up any other noise. So let's go ahead and lie down again, or sit down, whatever you prefer. And if you can close your eyes for a couple minutes, I want you to do that. I do want to try to set my do not disturb thing really quickly so I don't get any notifications right now. Okay, that should work. All right. So you'll be able to disregard the first couple of minutes. So everyone is comfortable now on their back. And we're just going to start to, again, take that focus more internally. We want to start to focus on breathing, get out of that automatic shallow breathing that we do, and start to inhale through the nose. Do one big exhale through the mouth. And then from there, we're going to start to slowly inhale and exhale just through the nose if you can. And each breath in, I want you to try to allow it to go deeper into the body and open the body up. All right. I'm going to scoot on back to my mat. Hopefully you can hear me. Make sure my volume. There we go. Okay. So again, we're slowly taking that breath in and out. And maybe checking in a little bit, noticing if you're feeling some tension, tightness. So each breath in now, we're starting to open up into that upper body a little bit more. Our goal is to have the whole belly, have that breath coming all the way to the diaphragm. And then with each exhalation, allowing yourself to feel like you're just a little heavier into the mat, a little more relaxed. If you're still aware of any part of the body that does feel tight, full of tension, we're going to try to work on letting that go as we exhale. And we want to think about the mind the same way. We have so many thoughts constantly, really hard to not have them. But I want you to try to take that breath in. And as you exhale, imagine those little thoughts just floating away just for now. We can bring them back later when we need them. So let's do a few more breaths. If you're really unsure about that breath, if you don't know if you're feeling it all the way in the belly, just take your hand, rest it on the belly. You're going to just do this a couple times. You feel that belly rise up, you feel the hand moving. As you exhale, if you want to contract a little bit, just to engage the core muscles of belly, do that. You're going to, same thing, inhale. Everything's expanding. Exhale, you can just relax or do a gentle little contraction here. Stay focused on the breathing. If you haven't gotten to your back yet, go ahead and come onto your back on your mat. If you are there, you're going to go ahead and bend the knees. So think of lifting the hips up and moving them a little further away from the shoulders. We're going to keep that little arch in the lower back. Each heel is lining up with the center of the glutes, right? So the hips and knees and feet are all in the same line. We don't want to let our knees drop apart like that or go together. And then I'm going to take my shoulders and try to spread them apart. Lengthen my neck. Bring those arms right next to me. I'm going to try to stay in this bent knees pose in a relaxed position. But again, be aware of keeping my knees aligned, keeping my shoulders open and back. Still focused on our breathing. We're going to do one more before we add any kind of movement. All right, here we go. On the next inhale, just let the arms float up and go all the way over your head. And then we're exhaling and we're allowing the arms to come back to the mat. And again, reach up and inhale. Feel those fingertips going as far back as possible and use the same amount of time for that exhale if you can. All right, let's add those legs now. So arms still go over the head. On the exhale, we're just very gently pulling that right knee in. So this is the first time you're going to probably feel your lower back kind of pressing into the mat. And then if we put the foot down and go overhead again, we're not hyperextending the back, but we are allowing that normal little arch to occur. And then we're going to bring the left knee in. And foot goes down as we inhale. So continue that pattern. Again, you are working at a different pace than me. We're all breathing a little differently. But we do want it to be a slow, focused breath and focusing that movement to match the breath. So just do a couple more. Go right and left one more time, wherever you are at this point. All right, when we bring that right knee in, we're going to stay a little bit longer. So we want to take our hands off the knee joint now. You can either slide down to the front of the shin, you want to hold the back of the legs, either way, but we're trying to pull that knee in and feeling that lower back press down. And then just start to move the knees. And that's going to start to move that upper leg and the hip. And at this point, just kind of noticing on your body what might feel tight, what feels okay. Move it any way you want to, as much as you want to. If it helps you to use your hands, do that. All right. And then let's just extend that foot all the way up. You don't even have to straighten the knee yet, but flex your foot as hard as you can. And then slowly come into a point. Again, pointing as much as is comfortable for you. And we're just going to do a few of those. And then circle the ankle. Again, don't shortchange yourself. Do as many as you need to feel like everything's loosening up, and we go the other way. All right, and then just a little more stretch. Press that heel away from you again. Straightening the knee if that works for you. And let's take that right foot to the left knee and gently press that right knee out. We're just going to hold it out there. As you press the right knee out, you're going to start to feel this up in the right hip. Keeping our shoulders down still. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and pull that right knee into the chest again. Stretch the left leg all the way out. You should feel a nice stretch in front of the left hip. We're going to ease into this. So go ahead and bring your right arm down to the mat. Use this left hand. We're going to take a breath in. On the exhale, just twisting easy over to the left. Don't force it. Just keep your shoulders down and just see where that knee goes. We're not going all the way over on this one. And again, now we start to feel this more on the outside of the hip. And then we're going to come onto our back. Let's bring both knees in. Feel that lower back kind of spreading into the mat. Very easy little circles here. All right, we're going to start all over again by bringing both feet into alignment with the hip, moving the shoulders out, get everything lined up, bring your arms right next to you. And then take the arms up, inhale. And exhale, bring the left knee in. So now we'll focus on the other side, just starting by pulling the knee in. And then easy movements, right? Just move that left knee, which is going to cause the whole upper leg to move around in the left hip. Circling. Again, this is all up to you. You know your body. Hopefully now you've been practicing yoga for a while. You know what your tight points are, what areas you are. You do feel like you're flexible or stronger in. Let's take the foot up now, and we're going to flex the foot and point. Again, working that as much as you can. And circling the ankle. And whenever you're ready, circle both ways. Again, stay longer with this. And you know, you can catch up with me. You don't have to stay with me the whole time. And then when that's feeling nice and warm, extend the leg a little more if you want to. All right, go ahead and bring that left foot to the right knee. And then we're going to use that left hand and press it out, ease into it. Ready to feel this up in the left hip. All right, we're going to pull that left knee back into our chest, stretch the right leg out. Hold that for a moment. Then we're going to take the left arm, move it to the floor. Take a breath in. On the exhale, bring that left knee across. Again, we're not trying to go too deep into this. We're just starting to let that outside hip stretch a little bit. And onto our back. We're going to pull both knees in again and roll our back a little bit. Bring the feet up, flex and point a couple times, circle. Now, talking about the lower back, one of the things that, of course we want to stretch it, right? We want to keep those muscles flexible, and especially where they're attached up into the ribs, into the hips and all that. But the other thing that will help with the lower back is if we strengthen the opposite muscles, right? So the abdominals, we have all these different layers of abdominals. But basically what we want to do to make them stronger is to make them shorter and tighter, if that makes sense, right? To contract them. So we're going to go ahead and come back to our bent knees position, but we're going to take our feet a little further away from us. So we're still lined up with the hips, but they're not close. They're a little further out. Bring your arms across your chest. Now I'm going to show you a couple things to do, and you need to be aware of your neck, because I'm going to show these without head support, but if you need head support, then I'll show that modification in just a moment. So we're going to start out arms across the chest, but we're not going to do anything with the upper body yet. We're going to take a deep breath in. Again, by now you can feel that belly activate. On the exhale, you're just going to contract those abdominals as tight as you can and press that lower back down. So we're taking that little curve away, right? And again, take that breath in. And on the exhale, pull that belly, pull all those layers of abdominals in, like there's something from the belly button pulling to your mat, and press that lower back down. And as soon as you need to inhale, let that belly fill up again. On the exhale, contracting. So you can stay with that. You're still doing quite a bit of work. The next option is to take that deep breath in. Now when I exhale and contract, I'm just going to lift my head and shoulders a couple inches off the mat, not far at all. And inhale back down. And exhale, as I lift, I'm contracting at the same time. Again, notice that my head and shoulders are just a couple inches up. Inhale, I go back down. Now here's the bad example. This is what I do not want you to do. Ooh, right, lift your head, tuck your chin, none of that. Now, if you find that you want to do make it a little more challenging, but it does bother your neck, take one arm, hand behind the head, keep that other arm out of the way, lift up. The reason I don't tell you to put both hands behind the head is what happens a lot of time. Right away, we start using those hands to pull us up. We bring our elbows forward, and then we're into that rounded back again, which we don't want. So play around and find the one that works the best for you. All right, I'm going to stay here with my arms across my chest. And we're just going to do 4 more at your own pace. So again, allowing that belly to expand on the inhale. And then on the exhale, doing that little contraction and hold it. You can hold the breath for a second and then inhale. And then exhale, contract, barely lift up, keep your eyes up, and inhale back down. And let's just go for 2 more of those. And then come back down. So if you're doing those correctly and really doing that strong contraction here, it doesn't take a lot of them, and you should feel a little tired afterward. These muscles are going to be a little fatigued. Let's bring both knees in and roll the back a little bit. So since we're talking about lower back today, I'll be showing a lot of modifications for the things that we do and things that you might want to pick to do in your own yoga routine, whether you're doing class with me or on your own. And these are things that are just going to alleviate extra stress on your lower back. So for today, I'm going to show that I'm going to roll to my side. I'm going to use my hands to push myself up. If you rock yourself up like we do sometimes, again, that's a little bit more strain on the lower back. So let's go ahead and come to our hands and knees. Let me pull my hair back. Remember that you can put something under the knees if your knees need a little more padding. Grab a rolled up towel or a nice soft blanket, something like that. I'm going to have to turn my fan on. Whew. Okay. So I should probably keep an eye on the clock. You know me, I'm always running late. Okay. So we're going to start out here. Knees right under the hips. And if you can, bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Hands are going to be right on the shoulder. And spread those fingers out. Keep the arms long, but we don't want to push those elbows tight. We're just going to soften a little bit. Shoulders away from the ears. Now, as much as you can, stay focused with eyes down, but I know you have to look at your screen sometimes if you don't quite understand what I'm telling you to do. So just be aware of that. Most of the time when we're doing our movement, you want to have your neck aligned with the spine and eyes are looking straight down. So take that breath in. Do that exhale. Let's see if we can make that contraction happen here, right? Pulling the belly up. And then inhale again, expanding outward. And exhale, drawing those abdominals in. I'm not really arching my back yet. I'm going to do 2 more with a flat back. Still take that deep belly breath every time. Still try to tighten that contraction every time. Now this time as I inhale, I'm going to add that little curve. I'm going to lift my chest, lift my tailbone, my eyes go a little more forward. On the exhale, I'm going to arch. My eyes are going to go toward my knees. But it's all staying aligned with the rest of the spine. So let's do a few of those. Cat and cow one more time. And then exhale into child's pose. Let those hips start to drop back. Bring those arms in. Remember, give yourself more room if you need it. Grab a little block if you need it. And you can put your forehead on it. You can have it back here to rest on. And arms are in as well. So I do a lot of reminders anyway, but as much as you can today, especially when we're going into those poses that require some strength, like our downward dog and our balancing and some of the warriors, remember to keep your abdominals engaged. So that doesn't mean contracted so tight that you can't really breathe normally, but it means being aware and kind of pulling that internal belt to keep them working. So let's start out, let's come to downward dog. So walk the arms a little more forward. And then we're just going to bring those toes under, hips up high, and we're just going to start to make our way into our downward facing dog. So I want to give you some time to work on that on your own and noticing what might be feeling tight, what feels loose, right? I mean, maybe this is not a hard pose for you, but start to move it around a little bit. You can shift your weight from one hand to the other. Pedal your feet, move around a little bit. Later, we're going to want that downward dog to be as long and strong as possible, but right now we're making our way into it. Try to see where my clock is. There we go. Okay. All right, so once that downward dog's feeling better, I want you to move the head just a little bit, almost like you're nodding, yes, up and down, and then no, but really slowly, really easily. If you want to do a little head circle each way, it's like allowing the head to be heavy, but using our neck muscles gently. All right, so from there, if you've pedaled everything and moved everything, you're feeling pretty strong. We're going to come into our plank. We're going to inhale. Come to plank, exhale, go back to downward dog. So we're not really moving our hands and feet yet. And remember, take a break if you need it, always. And we're going to inhale, come to our plank. Stay strong, don't let gravity pull you down. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, come to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time moving on, inhale to plank, drop those knees, modified plank. All right, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lower slowly to the mat. Hands can move forward a little bit. Now, when we're going into our cobra, we want to try to not use the lower back, right? That's one of those things that doesn't matter whether you have lower back issues or not. That's not where the movement comes from. So we want to think of the area from the shoulder blades to the neck. That's the part of the spine we're trying to curve. And unfortunately, most of us have it curving the other way because we sit and have forward movement a lot throughout our day. So what I want you to think about today on your cobra, we're going to do it in 3 stages. Every time you begin, you're going to really pull that belly up and in and try to keep it tight. That's going to prevent you from arching that lower back so much. So let's start out, hands right in front of or under the shoulders, forehead to the mat. Before we do anything, pull the abdominals tight. Try to keep them tight as long as you can. Now inhale, lift the forehead, lift the heart. Think of your heart as a little light, and it's just going to shine to the front of your mat. And exhale, lower. Again, you got to take it in stages. That upper back is, again, it may not be a problem for you, but it's a pretty common thing for people to have to work on. So again, abdominals in. Inhale, lift the, I almost think of moving my forehead forward and up like a cobra. Lift the chest. This time, see if you can pull those shoulders up and back. Take your gaze in front of your mat a little bit. Not holding your breath, you're still breathing. Inhale at the top, and exhale, lower back down. If you want to turn your head for a moment to the side and rest, you can do that. All right, let's try it one more time. Put forehead down, tighten the belly. Inhale, move forward and up. Pull the shoulders back. Press the feet into the mat. Keep those abdominals tight. And exhale, lower back down. Bring the hands under the shoulders and push yourself back to child's pose. All right, so this time we're just going to go through our mat vinyasa a couple times, putting all those movements together, trying to make them flow, and using just maybe 1 breath per movement. But if you want to stay in any of it a little longer, feel free to do that. All right, so arms move forward and downward dog when you're ready. And inhale to your plank or your modified plank, your preference. Exhale, you're lowering all the way down to the mat. Inhale, move into that cobra. And exhale back to child's pose. 3 breaths while you're resting in your child's pose. All right, toes under, hips high, downward dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale to child's pose. After you've rested in child's pose, your choice to get to the front of your mat in a forward bend. You can either come to your downward dog and walk yourself in. You feel like that's a little more than you want to do, especially with a back problem. You can go ahead and come to hands and knees, and then just step 1 foot forward, the other foot forward. You definitely want to have a block handy if we're focusing on lower back. So we want to have something, if I'm here and I just know I can't get to the floor. That really does put that strain into the lower back, into the hips. I'm going to have my block ready. So your feet don't have to be perfect yet for mountain pose. We'll work on that in a little while, but for right now, I just want you to hang forward. Let your knees bend if that helps you. Not so much on alignment here, but on how it feels. So you should feel some stretch in the backs of the legs as it goes up into the hips. Gonna feel some lower back. You can, again, have your hands on the block for support. You can grab the elbows, maybe even adding some gentle movement into that, kind of letting the body sort of like kind of pendulum, making that forward bend a little more active. And then when we get ready to come up, we're going to bend the knees a little bit, pull that belly tight and roll it up. Coming all the way up, getting taller and taller, shoulders up and back. Oops, I gotta rearrange my screen. Oops, from the other way. There we go. Okay, so we're in that mountain pose. Shoulders back. You wanna make sure that you have your weight even on both sides. So if you have that tendency to kind of shift your weight, try to pull the hips up. Pull through the crown of the head. Think about stretching the back of your neck. That's what I've been doing lately, trying to work on my posture. Is I take my thumbs to the base of the skull, those muscles back there, which on me are always very tight. And I just almost imagine that I am pulling my neck a little bit longer. All right, so we're going to try to keep that tall posture. Shoulders up and back so that we can open the chest, but be somewhat relaxed. We're turning our thumbs slightly away from us, right? Again, that opens the shoulders and chest. So in your mountain pose, we're just going to add some arms. So as I inhale, bring the arms over the head. As I exhale, floating them back down. Use that full breath for that exhalation. As soon as they're down, as soon as I'm ready to inhale, I'm going to inhale again. Now I'm going to look up a little bit. I'm not going to look at my hands yet. I'm not quite ready for that. Exhale, bring those arms back down. Let's do one more. Inhale, bring those arms up. My eyes are starting to go a little higher up. Exhale, as I come, bring the arms down. I'm going to tuck my chin and roll down. Keep my chin to the chest. That's less weight moving away from my body. I'm going to roll all the way to that forward bend, hands to whatever I use, floor or block. And once again, just let that head literally hang. Now I'm going to go back to the side view here, because what I want you to do now is bend both knees a little bit and then straighten them. And then bend the knees and straighten them. And notice if you're feeling anything tight, where you're feeling it. Bend the knees and straighten it. Now, if you have a lot of forward flexibility in this position, when you bend the knees, I want you to think of bringing your chest more onto your thigh and trying to keep it there as you straighten the knee. If that doesn't work for you, you're just going to do a little bit of bend and a little bit of straighten. And we're just trying to lengthen everything along the back of the leg before we come back up. All right, let's do one more deep knee bend here. Straighten the knees. Now pull that belly tight and then roll it back up. Your head is the last part to come up. And we come back to that mountain pose. Bring the arms up, inhale. Alongside you, exhale, find that mountain pose again. Here we go, one more time. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, tuck that chin, roll it back down. Reach for the floor or the blocks. Now, we've gotten that spine a little bit looser. Bring your hands to your block or the floor. Now inhale, come about halfway up. All right, if your hands are kind of low and you can't get halfway up, just at least straighten the back. You can also take the hand for the leg and get more into that halfway position. All right, so inhale halfway up. Now, think of your heart as lifting a little more forward, shoulders a little more back. See if you can take your arms alongside and not collapse. Now, if you do, if you feel that strain, nothing wrong with it. You're just going to use your hands for that extra support. Take a breath in here, get that spine a little longer. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, roll it back up. Now these movements are happening hopefully a little bit easier, flowing a little bit more. Now that we've warmed up, let's try it again. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, forward bend, roll it down. Inhale, extend halfway up. Arms extending if we want to add that balance. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, roll it all the way up. Now, we're going to do this 2 more times and then go into our warrior poses. For those of you that have been doing yoga longer, you want to do that regular forward bend, diving and extending as you come back up, move on to that. I'm going to stay with the more modified version today. Here we go. Arms up, inhale. And exhale, roll or extend into that forward bend. Inhale, lift. Every time we're getting into that position a little quicker, a little stronger, a little straighter, arms reach back. Exhale, forward bend. Now, plant your hands. Slowly step back to your downward facing dog. However many steps you need. Inhale to your plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to child's pose. When we start getting into the warrior poses, if you'd rather come from hands and knees, do that. Or you can come from downward dog. All right, so when you come to your downward facing dog, you're going to take 3 breaths here, and then you're going to step your right foot forward. If you're going to go to the hands and knees, at least take a breath or 2 here in downward dog. And then bring the knees down. Bring that right knee all the way forward, right foot, sorry, all the way forward. And then we're going to all come to warrior 1. So I'm just going to kind of step up here. So my feet are on my railroad tracks, right? My hips are facing forward. Want to be really aware of that right knee, keeping it right over the foot. Think of your second and third toe as your little guideline, right? Not the big toe. That tends to roll us in. The pinky's a bit too much. So think of the second and third toe. This back foot is anchored. It's turned out a little bit. So everything's facing forward. Add the arms up. Even though it's a little bit challenging here, try to push those hips forward and let's get that front of the hip stretching. We're going to inhale, lift the left heel up. And exhale, place it down. And inhale, lift it up. And exhale, place it back down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, step back a little bit or a lot and come into that high lunge, right? So if my feet are closer together, I have more to balance on. If it's further back, more challenging, your choice. Arms are up, shoulders are down. Good, so really activating the front of that left hip by pushing it forward, keeping a nice soft left knee, strong right leg. One more inhale. On the exhale, open warrior 2. Now I'm going to pull my right foot a little more in front of my left foot. I'm going to turn my whole body to the side of my mat. Shoulders relaxed. Look to that right hand. Good. Take this right arm, side angle pose. Lean into the right leg. Remember, you've got an option for a block. Those of you that like to go a bit deeper into that, I'm going to stay here. Same thing, I still got that knee lined up with the toes, right? A left arm up or forward. Not on my head. You want to see some air between the ear and the arm. side angle pose extended variation or regular. Inhale, come back up. Warrior two. Turn the hand up, reverse warrior. Curve the body. Don't straighten the knee. You want to keep that leg working. And back to warrior two. All right, can you get back to that high lunge? Turn the body, turn the hips. Bring the heel up, find your balance where you were before. And then we're going to bring the hands down. And we're going to bring the knee down. So remember, cushion it if you need to. So now the kneeling lunge is a bit different, right? So we want to make sure that we still have that knee lined up over the toes. The hips are pushing forward. Some people find that this is harder for them. For others, it's easier to have the knee down and have the balance. So it's good to work on both. But then when you're trying to really work on the hips, choose the one that is the best for you, that you have the best balance. Arms up. And do a little lift in the chest, no arch in the back, lower back though. And then slowly bring those hands down. Come to either hands and knees or downward dog. So here's your options. If you're in downward dog, hang out there. Go into child's pose if you like. Go through that slow vinyasa if you want to work harder. If you're on hands and knees with me, let's give our back a little break here. We're going to exhale, pull the belly in, come into cat pose. Inhale to cow pose. Work on lengthening the back without straining it. Exhale, arch up. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat pose. Inhale, cow. One more set. So if you've been in downward dog this whole time, or you've been resting in child's pose, it's time to come to the other side. I'm going to turn around just so that I do the other side with the same view. So if you're on your hands and knees, you're going to bring that left foot forward. As you bring this right knee up, kind of step in what you think might be your warrior one, but then once you're up, you're like, oh, that's not where I want to be. Just take a second to fix it. So bend the front knee, angle the back foot a little bit. Too much turns the hips, so make sure the hips are forward, arms up. Warrior one. Once you're here, let's work on fixing it a little bit. So you want to make sure that your feet are not too much in line, right? You want to make sure that the shoulders and hips line up. This front knee doesn't twerk in or out. Probably not, twerk is probably not the word, I don't know what. Arms up, shoulders down. So that warrior one is really strong, but it's not the deep lunge that we've done earlier. Now, from our warrior one, we're going to inhale, lift the heel. Exhale, place it down. You don't have to change the angle of the foot yet. Inhale, heel up. Exhale, heel down. Inhale, heel up. Step back a little bit or a lot. Find that lunge. So now it's the left foot forward and stretching the right hip. Inhale here. Exhale, open to warrior two. So now we line up that front and back foot. Try to turn your hips as much as you can. Take those arms at shoulder height. Relax, look over that left hand. Side angle pose. Lean into this left leg. Right arm straight up. Maybe extend it if that feels good. Keep the left knee bent. Right over that foot. Next inhale brings us back to warrior two. Take the left palm, turn it up. Reverse warrior, curve the arm up and back. Make sure that this back hand is just resting somewhere. Probably not here, but you can go a little bit lower or all the way down. Try to keep your eyes up. Even if it's up in front of you, Don't want to lose your balance. Back to warrior two. Take a moment, settle into that warrior two, thinking ahead, going back to that high lunge. So as I turn, I'm going to bring the heel up, find my balance again. I can't remember, did we step into warrior one? Step into warrior one. And then I'm going to bring my hands down slowly, bring my knee down, other knee down, coming to hands and knees. Let's do cat and cow 1 or 2 times, your choice. Inhale to cow, exhale child's pose. So let's come back to that child's pose and take a little rest. Get some water if you need it, if you haven't done that yet. You feel that humidity today. All right, so after you've had that little bit of a break, we are going to all come to our downward facing dog. Going to bring those feet back to the front of our mat, coming into that forward bend. Grabbing the elbows to hang, using our block, whatever gives us the best forward bend. All right, and I'm going to roll it back up. So make sure you tighten up the belly and then take your time rolling back up. Bring the arms all the way overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. And coming back to that mountain pose. Just roll the shoulders back a few times. I want you to take your hands into fists. Bring them around to below the lower back. Right, you can feel the back of the pelvis here. So we're not going to arch our lower back. We're going to push our hips forward, shoulders back. Think of pulling your elbows toward each other, gently pressing your hips forward. So this is similar to when we do that camel pose on our knees, right? So we have to really get a lot of more flexibility here in front of the hips. If you want to, take the gaze up, or you can take the gaze overhead. Only you don't feel that extra strain in the neck. We shouldn't feel strain in the lower back because we're trying to work again from up here, right? Between the shoulder blades to the neck. Elbows toward each other. Inhale here. It's harder to take the deep breath in here. Try to keep those hips moving forward. One more, inhale. And then come back to mountain pose. Getting ready to move our way back down. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, tuck your chin, roll it down. Inhale, lift halfway. Last time here, straightening the back. Lifting the chest, maybe taking those arms and reaching back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward bend. Bring the hand to the mat, and then once again, making our way slowly back to downward facing dog. And pedaling the feet. Try to do them evenly, so 3 or 4 on each leg. All right, and then press both heels down, press the hips back. Next inhale brings us into our plank, and exhale, lower all the way down. Forehead to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet down, and let's extend those arms alongside us. Try to slow that breathing down a little bit. Try to stretch your body as long as possible. So as much distance from the forehead to the tops of your feet. All right, pull the belly in. Inhale, bring the forehead up. Pull the shoulders back, maybe lift the chest up a little bit. But if you notice my neck, I'm looking about here with my eyes. I'm not looking way in front. Keep it nice and long. Exhale, lower. I'm going to try that one more time. First thing we do, pull those abdominals in. As I inhale, I lift the forehead and chest. This time I'm just going to reach my arms up and back with the shoulders from my ear. Again, keeping my gaze just a little bit forward, not shortening the neck. Stay up as long as you like. Inhaling, exhaling slowly. One more inhale. And exhale, lower all the way down. Turn your head to one side and rest for a breath or two. All right, I'm gonna bring my hands back under my shoulders and just take my time pushing back to child's pose. So pull those abdominals in to help you with that core staying nice and strong. Come to child's pose, bring your arms in and rest, however you want to do that. Bring the hands right to the front of the knees. We're going to slowly make our way around to just sitting on the mat. Now I'm going to, again, focusing on this lower back thing we've been talking about today. I'm going to recommend that you get, if you have your block or you use a sturdy book or even a firm pillow, you don't want a cushy pillow, but you want something that's going to get your hips a little higher up off the ground. I hope you can see that because it's the same color. But so if I have a hard time in that forward bend because of lower back tightening up, restricting, I'm going to get my hips higher. I'm going to stretch my legs out in front. All right, now you can even use two blocks if you want. I don't mean two blocks stacked, but I mean side by side if you need a little more room. So shoulders back, hands are going to be right here. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, go into that forward bend, just walking the hands out a little bit. If this is all the further I can go, that's all I'm going to do. Now, maybe I can bend my knees a little bit and go a little further, but I'm not letting this happen with my back, if you can see that. So I'm trying to stay as straight as I can, bring the body weight forward, but not let that curve happen right in the middle of the back. So as I lean forward, I'm getting a nice stretch, mostly the hamstrings, right? It's going up into the hips. And I'm going to walk it back. I'm going to bring the knees in, just move them a little bit side to side. We're going to do it one more time. Again, just trying to show you a lot of easy modifications today to work with that lower back, whether it's an occasional thing or something that you're dealing with all the time. Let's stretch those legs out. Again, sitting tall, you can start with the arms coming up. If that's the way you like to get into that forward bend, or just use the hands and walk yourself out little by little. You get to that stopping point, think about inhaling, getting a little taller, and then maybe as you exhale, you can keep that nice tall back, but you can move forward maybe a half inch or so. And once we're here, focus on that slow breath. All right, we're going to make our way out of that. Now we're going to come off of that block or blanket if you use something. Move it off to the side. We're going to come down onto our back. So I'm going to roll to my side. And then I'm going to turn over onto my back. Once you're all the way down, we're going to bring both knees into our chest. Just start out by pulling the knees towards you. Feel that back kind of flattening and spreading out. And then we're just going to roll a little bit. Again, kind of you're up to you what kind of movements you do, what feels the best for you. Bring both feet up. Let's flex and point them a few times. And then I like to work on my ankles. I like to do it a few different ways. Right, working together, working opposite, working the same, however you want to do it. Just get as much movement as you can. Try to spread your toes out and then squeeze them together. These aren't necessarily a yoga movement, but all of these movements with our feet are so important. Think about your feet. They're the foundation for everything, and yet we don't give them a lot of attention, right? So keep those muscles moving. Keep everything, all of the joints, all of the muscles and bones, they are interconnected. They have got to have movement, and so be kind to your feet. All right, so I'm gonna bring those feet down, knees back in. Now we're gonna go twisting again, but this time we're gonna keep the knees together, and we're gonna do 4 times each way. And the reason we're doing it is I want to show you every option that you can do. And again, pick the one that works the best for you, that doesn't overdo it for you. If you want to go through all of them, fine. If you want to go right into the more challenging that you know how to do, fine. So I'm going to start out keeping my feet in this parallel position. Actually, I'm going to do it this way only one time, only because I want you to see what happens. So I'm in my bent knee position. I keep my feet like this. I let the knees drop. You see how they're not even together? Maybe it's better on this side. So I'm going to take both knees to the right. So I go to the outside edge of my right foot, inside edge of my left. My knees are not together. My legs are not together. I'm getting a good stretch here though. This is something that we don't feel when the knees are together. So you're probably feeling this outside the left knee, right up into the hip, and then into that right inner thigh. If you can try to keep the arms down, open up as much as you have room for. And then knees up as you inhale. And then you're going to keep the feet in that same spot and go to the left. And so now you can see that my knees again are not stacked up at all. Trying to keep my shoulders down. If you do some of this work on your own, maybe you don't want to do the whole class, but you just want to do some lower back stretching, you get down on the ground, try to do at least 3 to 4 breaths for every movement that you're doing, so the body can get a little more relaxed into that stretch each time. All right, bring the knees up, inhale. That was your first option. Next one is with the feet and knees touching. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we are going to let the knees and feet stay together, but you can even move to the opposite way. So if I'm going to go to the right, I'm going to move my feet to the left a little bit, keep them together, and then drop knees to the right. Same thing. You're going to feel each twist getting deeper into the body, but also changing where you feel the stretch. All right, we're ready to go to the other side. Bring the knees up, inhale. I'm going to move them over to the right a little bit, and then I'm going to exhale, go into that twist to the left. All right, bring those knees up. That was our option number 2. Moving on to option number 3, feet off the mat. Still going right first, inhale, exhale, twist. Now you can probably feel that this may be getting harder for that left shoulder to stay down. You're definitely feeling this twist deeper than the other 2. And knees up, inhale. Exhale, twisting to your left, keeping the knees and feet together. And bring those knees up. All right, so the last one. Once again, 2 options. So You can do it a couple different ways. And again, it's just what works with your body. All right. So we're going to start with the right leg crossed over the left. So like crossing your leg like if you were sitting down. But you can take this twist either way. Whichever way you do it, this with the right over the left, make sure you do the opposite for the left. So I can bring my knees over to the right, keeping them crossed, or I can go over to my left. If you've never tried both, try them, see what works the best for you. Generally, this one's a little harder to take the knees to the right when the right leg's crossed. Get a lot of stretch outside the hip, but you know, if it doesn't work for you, try the other one. All right, coming back. And of course, we have to switch, bring the left over the right knee, same thing. Whatever you did on the right side, you want to just do it to the same direction, which would be, you know, opposite. So either you take both of them to the left with the left cross, or you take them both to the right. Make sure you're always balancing that body. All right, coming onto your back, we've done all the twisting we're going to do. Uncross the legs, take both feet up again, flex and point a few times. Circle. Now I want you to take the legs, the one hand per leg, and you're going to take the legs apart. You can either hold the back of the knees with the feet up or down, or you can grab the big toes. Happy baby, right? Any variation. Babies don't know what's right or wrong. So whatever works for you, but taking those legs wider now and doing that same roll we did earlier. If you're able to contact with the feet, you might want to stretch the legs out and up and out and down, whatever. Just want you to have that last bit of free movement, moving around, working out any little kinks you might still be feeling. And then we're going to bring those feet together, bring the knees together, make a little ball, pull your head up toward your knees. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, let's start to bring the feet down. Bring the arms down. We're going to take the arms over the head and stretch our legs all the way out. Take a deep breath in, stretch the fingers and toes as far apart as you can. Exhale, relax. Try to keep that length if you can. Don't let it shorten too much. Inhale again, stretch a little bit longer. Exhale and relax. And we're going to do it one last time. Take that deep breath in. Exhale and relax. Now getting ready for Savasana, so whatever that is for you. You want to move over to the wall, get those legs up the wall for a couple minutes. That feels good. Just staying in this open Savasana position like this. Some people like to have their knees in. This one would be okay to have the knees together. Maybe you'd rather just roll over to your side. So take a moment, get yourself settled up. And then when you're as comfortable as you can be, take that focus inward again. Take that slow breath in. Let's make that connection. Keep it going all the way to the belly. On the exhale, feeling a little heavier as all that breath comes out and you relax. And deep breath in. And nice deep exhale. And just letting yourself drift off for a few minutes. You know, if those thoughts are starting to come back, just tell yourself, no, I'm going to let those float back out for a couple more minutes. I'm just going to stay here, focused on my body, letting that breath enter, rejuvenate. As I exhale, letting the old stuff out. Trying to maintain my body in that relaxed state, keep my mind nice and clear. So you're really just allowing yourself that time to rest, relax. All right, everyone, let's start to bring our focus back a little bit. Let's take a deeper breath in and out. Start to move the hands a little bit, move the feet a little bit. Starting to let that blood move around. And bring yourself back up when you're ready. If you need a few more minutes, feel free to stay there. Thank you guys for joining me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording in just a moment and then we can chat afterwards, but we don't need to record that. So just want to thank you guys for joining me today and doing such a good job. Namaste. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.